All right, and also one more point. So one of my projects this year was to come up with some kind of certification in data modeling. And maybe it ties back to some of Scott's comments about we need ways to quantify things. And so for the past 6 years, I've been coming up with questions. A lot of times if I teach a class on site, somebody says, how do you know people really know the stuff? So I'm very, often I come up with a quiz. And I've been teaching at the university, Columbia University, one night a week, and I give them a lot of quizzes. So I love giving quizzes. It's actually, I finally get even, right? I don't know if you like that too as a professor. I give them really hard quizzes. So over the past 6 months, I put together 350 questions. I'll step back first. So formed a site called Data Modeling Institute, which I'm hoping grows into a place we can all, almost like a data modeling community. So a place you can go to sharpen your data modeling skills, to explain why data modeling is important. Eventually, it's going to be that kind of thing. And the first project is to come up with a certification. So put together an exam. It's a 90-minute exam, or 120 if English is not your first language. And you are given 100 questions that are pulled from 10 different data modeling categories like syntax and conceptual, logical, physical, validating a model, definitions, naming standards, and so on. And out of those 10 categories, there are 100 subcategories. Everything is completely random. The questions are not only difficult, but there's 6 options usually for each one. So it really rules out guessing. I studied a lot of psychometric, when you're actually coming up with test questions. So each question is designed to be as objective as possible and very difficult. It's actually a very difficult exam. In fact, I wrote it so that 80 to 90% of the people will not be able to pass. And that's not a bad thing. I offered it in DMZ Europe last week, and we had the average experience in modeling was probably about 10 years in the room, and nobody passed. We did a 20-question assessment first. It's just and you could sign up for this too. I don't know how many of you have taken the assessment. Sorry? What? Sorry?
To fail it?
Yeah, to fail it. Well, actually, what the assessment does, it tells you which ones you get wrong. So, two comments. Two comments came out of Europe. One was that, okay, it doesn't mean that you don't know data modeling if you don't pass, and that's a really good point. You could still be an amazing data modeler, but if you pass this, it really says that you've upped your game. You have a certain level skill in modeling. Actually, and the second comment was, somebody described it as taking a cold shower, an ice cold shower. A data modeler from Russia who was in the room. Over 30 years experience in the field. And she said it's like taking a very cold shower because it made her realize what she needs to work on. And I think that's a really good point with the certification. It actually, you might be asking about how it relates to CDMP, and it complements it because CDMP helps us get certified in data management, and you can choose different specialties, including data modeling. This is if your specialty is purely data modeling, and it's designed at it's designed more at an advanced kind of exam. So it's also going to be, hopefully, a building block for more. Maybe over the next few years, we build on this. We think of other ways. Okay, you know data modeling, and you can now have a specialty in the data vault. You know data modeling, and now you want to look at Dirk's comment, like temporal data, for example. So universal models. Maybe there's ways you can build upon this certification. So it's all designed to help educate. I don't know, you want to make sure people we work with know data modeling. And it sets more of a, this is our community, this is our industry. So I'm actually talking a little bit about it more tomorrow, but what's interesting is, so this, right before the conference, I ran this report out of the tool that does the certification. This is the free assessment, so 20 questions that you're given. And the blue shows not passing, green is passing. So 4% is the pass rate on the assessment. which is actually, my daughter's looking at colleges. It's actually easier to get into Harvard last year, which is, and my wife manages, you know Jen, she manages the assessment. She's like, make it easier. I don't like to see people not passing. I'm like, it's supposed to be very hard.